The dragon fruit cactus grows a unique fruit that looks like a mythical dragon's egg and is a pleasure to see. When you peel back the bright red covering, you'll find a white or pink inside with tiny black seeds. The flavor is elusive. Some describe it as a somewhat sweet combination of kiwi fruit, watermelon, strawberry, and pear. Others say it has a nebulous sweetness or even a savory flavor. Confused? Rightly so. But you can't go wrong with this fruit. It's beautiful to look at and full of nutrients like vitamin C. However, the flavor might vary depending on the growing circumstances and maturity of the fruit. If the flavor of the fruit isn't enough to pique your interest, the flowers could do the trick. In the summer, they produce magnificent blossoms that measure more than 20 centimeters across. The outside leaves are a bright yellow-green, and within is a fragrant white flower reminiscent of a lily. Flowers open in the evening and only last one night. It's the ideal pretext for throwing a cocktail party in the evening so that guests can admire their blossoms. Dragon fruits come from Mexico and Central and Southern America. Naturally, they thrive best in tropical or subtropical climates with warm year-round temperatures and no frost. Though they can survive brief periods of sub-freezing temperatures, they do best at temperatures well above 10 degrees. They can handle the heat, drought, humidity, and poor soil, but their fruit will taste better if they're watered regularly and grown in rich soil. Dragon fruit is rapidly gaining in popularity, and now China is leaping to become a global leader in production. According to China's Southern Daily newspaper, China had only 3,400 hectares of dragon fruit in 2011, but that area reached 40,000 hectares in 2018, marking a sizable increase from the preceding years. As of 2019, the total area increased to 50,000 hectares, which places it in second place after Vietnam. Currently, the top producer in the globe with a total area of 55,000 hectares. Coming back to China, most of China's dragon fruit is grown in the provinces of Guangxi, Guangdong, Yunnan, Guizhou, and Hainan. Guangxi is home to many agricultural villages due to its status as the province that produces the most dragon fruit in China. Recently, the fruit had a planting area that represented 40% of the country's total production capacity and accounted for 2 out of every 5 pieces of the fruit that were sold on the local market. Sadly, despite its pleasant climate and rich soil, Guangxi is one of the least prosperous provinces in China. But that's starting to change thanks to advances in network and agricultural technology. Guangxi Jianin Agriculture Co. Limited, which was founded in 2012, uses most of these high-tech networks and farming tools. It is one of many businesses in the province that are trying their hand at commercial dragon fruit orchards. This business is among the first to be created on a 200-hectare plot, and it uses cutting-edge methods to cultivate dragon fruits. But how do they make sure the fruit is up to the mark? This plant is a climbing plant, not a typical cactus, and will benefit from staking to reach its full height. It is a plant that thrives in subtropical climates and needs high levels of both heat and humidity. Even though it can grow in any soil that drains well, dragon fruit grows best in slightly acidic soil. Particularly, it grows best with a pH level that falls anywhere between 6 and 7. The producer gives the dragon fruit some fertilizer once a month during the growing season to make sure it grows well. Given that it is a cactus, it needs extra care while watering. The producers only water the plant when the surface of the soil can be felt to be dry, and they do not let the plant stand in water at any point throughout the process. The soil needs to be moist, not soaked. The people of Guangxi put in long hours nurturing their farms using conventional techniques, which needed them to manually apply fertilizer and water the crops. Reluctance to accept the customary backbreaking low-income lifestyle also resulted in a mass flight of young people from the countryside, leaving elderly villagers with poor salaries and too much labor. The region started cultivating dragon fruits as a means of economic advancement 7 years ago, But despite the favorable surroundings and environment, they did not have the necessary knowledge and expertise to successfully cultivate the fruit. All of the productive fields were full of weeds that were taller than the first dragon fruit trees that the villagers grew. The level of output was low, and optimism about the future was fading. Then, in 2017, Jinfu Farm launched a smart agricultural cloud platform and used Huawei's FTTR technology to build a ubiquitous gigabit optical network. They were able to switch from labor-intensive farming to digitally led farming. Kudos to high bandwidth, low latency, and very reliable connectivity. The integrated fertilization and irrigation management system can automatically irrigate up to 900 acres of land, relieving fruit producers of the burden of manually watering trees in the hot heat using barrels. Owing to constant soil monitoring through sensors, fertilization can be tailored to each individual plot, slashing fertilizer expenditures by over $1,000 per acre annually. To guarantee that the dragon fruit plant blooms properly, the lower portion of the plant may get some partial shade, but the more exposed portions of the plant must be in direct sunlight. Overshading a plant might negatively affect its aptitude to bear fruit. And since it is sensitive to cold, dragon fruit cannot be grown in areas with temperatures below 5 degrees Celsius. For optimal growth, the temperature needs to be between 6 degrees to 35 degrees Celsius. The FTTR technology is a blessing for this very need. During the hot summer months, the trees are sprayed and cooled by an automated system to maintain an ideal temperature range of 6 degrees to 35 degrees Celsius, ideal for growing dragon fruit. And during the colder months, heaters ensure that they remain within the ideal parameters. Last but not least, the visualized tracing system that is backed by video backhaul devices can track the development of the fruit in real time. Because of technological advancements, the trees are now able to bear fruit every 10 months, which leads to a significant increase in yearly yields. Speaking of which, this plant has a short growing season that coincides with the hottest part of the year. It will not grow again until next year, but when it does, it will grow quite quickly. These flowers will bloom from July through October, but only for one night every year. When the flowers have finished blooming, the plant will start to bear fruit. Many of the people in Guangxi live in rural villages that rely on agriculture for their livelihood. However, because of harsh working conditions and poor wages, these communities have historically been unable to grow and thrive. Now, there is hope for both farmers and their communities in the advent of intelligent machinery, ubiquitous high-speed internet, and cutting-edge computing power. Last year, dragon fruit production had reached 20,000 tons, bringing in $20.5 million in revenue and benefiting more than 40,000 low-income farmers with almost $3.15 million. That's because the farms can now use cutting-edge methods of production, which come with high-density trellis system of planting, a fertigation system for feeding and irrigating, the use of insect and light traps to manage pests, night lighting with LEDs to induce blooming throughout the winter, a plastic cover to protect the plants from the cold, and an attractive ground cover to keep weeds at bay and maintain farm hygiene. The agricultural advancement in tech has earned it multiple accolades at the local, provincial, and national levels, as well as a number of certificates attesting to its adherence to industry standards in areas such as agriculture, management, and food safety and traceability. China has been making farming easy for its farmers, and we need more of that at the end. We are the ones enjoying these delights.